Okay, so today we are going to start the first lesson of vistas, which is the third level. Okay, so before we start the lesson, let us discuss the theme. So it is a science fiction, the third level, which is a science fiction regarding time travel. So in science fiction also there are several genre means categories, and this category belongs to time travel. Time travel means whenever a protagonist or the main character of the story in his imagination travels or switches between past, present, and future. Okay, at different stages of the story. Okay, that is called time travel. Okay, in his mind's eyes, he will go back to the past, again switch to the present, and whenever the situation demands, he can also visualize his future. Okay, so that is the switching between the past, present, and future is what is time travel all about. So you will find this lesson having the protagonist, okay, who is switching between the past and the present. Okay, so let's see what is the other theme. The author interweaves fantasy with reality in his projection of time travel. Interweaves means he mixes. Fantasy means imagination, his idea, his vision with reality. Understood? Because it is like in novel, the novel might be the characters are fictional or the story is fictional, but always remember that it is never divorced from the reality. Okay, because the objective of literature is to project the society. Okay, so a story, be it a fiction or whatever genre might be the story, except for the non-fiction, all the fictions, the characters might be fictional, the story might be fictional, but the story has some touch with the reality, so that he can give some message to the society, right? Likewise, it is a fiction, of course, but it is attached to reality so as to convey some message from the present day world. Okay, it is again like the previous one, keeping quiet, is the setting is post Second World War. So this is also post Second, not exactly post Second World War, but around this time. Okay, why? Because at that time the situation in the world was very much tense, like what is going on now in the society. Okay, like especially after the Russian invasion. So the situation at that time was more volatile, more tensed. Therefore, the writers, whatever they wrote in the form of poem or in the form of story or drama, that real world was reflected. Okay, the prevailing situation is always reflected in a work of art. Always remember, a writer cannot simply write from his mind anything that is divorced from reality. No, he has to create, he has the license to create his characters or story from his mind, but that has to be attached to a theme which is the real life or reality. Okay. Next, you see, it is a story that weaves together a psychological journey into the past and present. Psychological means it basically deals with the mind. Okay, when do we tend to switch to the past? Can you tell me, can anyone tell me, when do we like to go to the past, or why does our mind tend to go to the past sometimes? Yeah, a person becomes nostalgic only when he thinks his past is better than the present. If your present is much better than the past, then you will not go back to the past. Okay, so people tend to become nostalgic only when his past appears to be slightly better than his present situation. Then he tends to go back to the past in his mind's eye, like this is psychological travel. Understood? So as to get some pleasure out of the past to forget the pain and suffering of the present time. Okay, so that is the psychology, okay, of time travel as well. Okay, so why does the character tend to switch between present and the past? So as to get some kind of comfort from the past, so that he can carry on with his present with the comfort of the past. That is why switching takes place actually. Understood? So the lesson highlights the harsh realities of war, especially the Second World War. Okay, harsh realities of war. War has irreversible consequences, thus leaving people in a state of insecurity. Okay, insecurity in the sense that there will be a lot of large-scale inflation in the economy. There will be recession in the economy. Okay, as a result of which the cost of the price will go up. Supply chain will be affected. Okay, as a result of shortage of supply chain, okay, the price in the market of a commodity will increase, thereby giving rise to inflation and recession in the economy. If there is recession in the economy, what happens? There is job crisis, food crisis, everything. Okay, there will be a tension in agricultural sector, okay, financial sector, okay, job sector. Understood? So that is why you see yesterday, like finance minister, not finance minister, sorry, his name is RBI governor has increased the repo rate. Okay, uh, yes, by 20 basis point, I suppose. So अभी क्या होगा देखो, होम लोन जो है ना वो महंगा हो जाएगा अभी. Understood? So there was a tension in the market. So Sensex fell drastically. Okay, Sensex market fell drastically because there was tension in the market. Understood? Because of the hike in repo rate by the governor of Reserve Bank of India. Understood? So whenever there is any increase in interest rate or any inflation in the market, then the situation becomes very much tense. Right? So the post-World War society was full of stress and tension. Now, coming back to the protagonist of the story. Protagonist means the main character in the story. Like you can say, he is having the lead role. Like in a film, you might see there is a hero, so he is the protagonist of the film. Okay, there might be several supporting roles, but the main character who is responsible for the actions in the story, okay, he's a leading character, so he's called the protagonist of the story. Here, Charlie is the protagonist of the story. His name is Charlie. He wishes to be transported to the third level, the world of Galesburg, Illinois, 1894. The protagonist of the story, Charlie, he wants to go back to the past of 1894, and that also third level. What is third level? Let me tell you. Like, it is a Grand Central Railway in New York City, okay, which is only two levels. There is no third level. Two levels means you can understand. For example, it can be ground floor, first floor. He has gone to the basement also, underground also. So that is the third level, which in reality did not actually exist in Grand Central Railway Station in the world of Galesburg, 1894. Okay, this third level did not exist, but in his mind's eye, he went to the third level. And that is why the lesson is called third level. Third level means another level in the Grand Central Railway Station, another floor you can say, the basement you can say, okay, which appeared to be very much old fashioned. Everything was old, currency was old. Okay, people used to wear the old fashioned clothes. Okay, the ticket used to be different. The railway engines used to be different in structure because it's obvious 1894 railway engine and now it's different, right? So he used to go back to the third level. He used to travel psychologically in his mind to the third level. Now the question is, why does Charlie like to travel the third level? What is the reason? That we shall discover today. Okay. Next, the story also deals with the theme of escapism. Escapism as a psychological refuge from the grim realities of the present day world. Grim realities मतलब क्या है? Sad realities. Refuge. What is the meaning of refuge? The meaning of refuge is shelter. Okay. Refuge. R-E-F-U-G. Refuge means shelter. So, why does Charlie want to go back to the past? He wants to go back to the past so as to get some comfort. It's a refuge for him. It's an escape route for Charlie. Okay? To avoid the discomfort, pain, loss, suffering of the present day stress and anxiety. So as I told you, the post-World War scenario was very much tense. Everywhere there was stress and strain. So in order to avoid stress and strain of the modern day world, Charlie used to go back in his mind, in his psychological state, the third level, which in reality did not exist, but he imagined it to be there, and he escaped to the third level so as to get refuge from the stress and anxiety of the present day world. It is also about modern day problems and how common man tends to escape reality by various means. Like if you relate it to the present day, suppose you are having some disturbed mind today, for example. So how do you tend to escape this pungent reality of yours? By listening to some music, okay? By going outside for some time, or watching TV, watching some program. So it is basically what? It is also same thing. It is basically a refuge from the anxiety of the present time, or at the moment. Understood? So, have you understood the theme of the third level? What is the theme of third level then? It's a time travel, psychological travel, switching between the present and the past. The main character of the story is Charlie, who goes back to the world of 1894 and discovered another level in the Grand Central Railway Station so as to get some comfort, okay, by thinking about the past. Okay, so as to avoid the everyday stress, anxiety. So, Grand Central of Railway of 1894 is basically an escape route for Charlie. Okay, so with this background information, let us begin this one. Just one paragraph I'll teach. Okay. Okay. Okay, see. All of you listen. Okay. The presidents of the New York Central and the New York, New Haven and Hartford railroads will swear on a stack of timetables that there are only two. Means all these presidents of the New York, like we have the railway station master and all these director and all this, na? So everybody will swear that New York Central Railway Station has only two levels. Okay, but how come it is third level? We'll swear on a stack of timetables that there are only two levels. But I say there are three because I have been on the third level of the Grand Central Station. The narrator says that I say it has got third level. It has got third level because I have been there in this third level. That is why I can say with confidence that the third level does exist. Yes, I have taken the obvious step. I talked to a psychiatrist friend of mine, among others. I told him about the third level at Grand Central Station, and he said it was a waking dream wish fulfillment. So, his psychiatrist friend's name is Sam. When he consulted his friend Sam, why is it that I think I have discovered third level? Then his psychiatrist friend said that it is something which was there in your mind, waking dream wish fulfillment. You had imagined it to be existing, and therefore it has become a reality for you. Understood? So his psychiatrist friend indirectly says that there are no third level. It is because you have perceived it to be there in your mind, and that is how it has become a reality for you. This is how his friend has replied him, his psychiatrist friend, whose name is Sam, replied him. Next, you see, he said, okay, now what kind of explanation did he give? Listen, it's very interesting. What kind of explanation did Sam, his psychiatrist friend, give when the writer asked him, I have discovered the third level? He said, I was unhappy. He said, I was unhappy. See, I was unhappy. That made my wife kind of mad. But he explained that he meant the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, and all the rest of it, and that I just want to escape. So that is the explanation, valid explanation that his psychiatrist friend has given him. His psychiatrist friend said that as the modern world is very unpleasant, full of stress, strain, anxiety, war, that is why he wanted to avoid temporarily the present discomfort of the present. That is why your mind went back to the past and discovered the third level. See, his friend has given him the explanation. Okay. Well, who doesn't? Then the narrator says, who doesn't want to escape if the reality is unpleasant, if the reality is uncomfortable, if the reality is very painful, then who doesn't want to escape the past, to forget the present? That is why he says, everybody I know wants to escape, but they don't wander down into any third level at Grand Central Station. Okay. So he said, everyone wants to escape, but unlike you, nobody does, because they don't want to discover something that did not exist at all. Okay. So do you understand now what is the third level here? Third level is the imaginary level of the Grand Central Railway Station that the narrator has discovered it to be in his mind, in his psychological travel in the past. Understood? So, but that's the reason, he said, and my friends all agreed. Everything points to it. They claimed, my stamp collecting, for example, that's a temporary refuge from reality. Well, maybe, but my grandfather did not need any refuge from reality. See, this is very important. But my grandfather did not need any refuge from reality. Why do you think people of the past did not require any kind of escape route into further past? Why do you think so? बताइए. Why did the narrator say, my grandfather did not need any refuge from reality? Because answer is given. See, things are pretty nice and peaceful in the past. Understood? Things were very nice and pretty in the past. That is why, as their past, that is, at that time, their present was so pleasant. That is why they did not need to go to the past. Understood? The narrator says that he's stamp collecting. See, अगर if you look for some archaic or antique things, उसका मतलब क्या है? Suppose you are looking for some antique mobile phones, or you are looking for some antique watches or clocks. What does it mean? Means you have fondness for the past. Okay, you like the objects that existed in the past. So that is how the narrator says, my stamp collection of the past is the indication of the fact that I wanted to go back to the past and enjoy the past. I am not happy with the present. Next, you see, things were pretty nice and peaceful in his day from all I hear, and he started my collection. It's a nice collection too, blocks of four of practically every US issue, first day covers, and so on. President Roosevelt collected stamps too, you know. So he says that his collection of the antique things like uh, stamp collection, you know what is first day cover? फर्स्ट डे कवर का मतलब होता है जब कोई स्टाम्प निकलता है, जैसे महात्मा गांधी का कोई स्टाम्प निकाला, तो इसको बोलते हैं, ये स्टाम्प को एक ब्लैंक एनवेलप में ऊपर पेस्ट करके अपने अपने खुद का एड्रेस में अगर आप भेज देते हो, टू कीप द रिकॉर्ड ऑफ द इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ न्यू स्टाम्प, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड फर्स्ट डे कवर. जिस दिन लॉन्च हुआ था ये स्टाम्प, इसी दिन आप उसको एनवेलप में पेस्ट करके ब्लैंक लेटर छोड़ दोगे, एनवेलप छोड़ दोगे आपके एड्रेस में, टू स्टोर इट फॉर योर फ्यूचर. So that is called first day cover. So the narrator has the habit of stamp collection, first day cover, and so on. And he said that it's not a bad hobby because even President Roosevelt also used to collect it on a regular basis. Okay, so now it's time for recess. So let's discontinue. We shall continue. Yes.